This will impact the price of your silver, of your gold. Possibly the biggest news story of the year, the dam explosion in Ukraine. We're going to dig into this because part of the story is just a little crazy. But I find another component of it downright horrifying. There's components of it also that don't make any sense, but I also have a sensible explanation that I want to tell you about as well. And what does Tucker Carlson have to say about everything that's going on? You buy silver, you buy gold to protect yourself during periods of geopolitical turmoil. Well, guess what? You got it. Let's dig in right now. Well, you joined me in the basement. I'm the lucky one. It's called YouTube, not RonTube, so without you, there would be no Ron's Basement. I hope you decide to come back. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. That helps us get the word out. Somebody blew up the Kakhovka Dam in Ukraine, unleashing millions of gallons of water onto unsuspecting civilians downstream. It's a real disaster. Homes, farms, businesses are being washed away. Mass destruction. So let's cover one thing first. Our hearts go out to these people. We don't like war. We don't like destruction. I know you're an empathetic person. Imagine being in that position of your home being hit by a wall of water. Not a good thing and not anything that we like to see. And this marks a major escalation in the war in Ukraine, a major escalation in the split of the world between the East, Russia, China, and the West, the United States, and the other G7 countries. We know the world is bifurcating. We know what that means for the price of silver and gold. But nobody wants to take responsibility for it. Neither the Russians nor the West or Ukraine want to step up and say, we did it. So it's a very puzzling situation for us. However, we do know a few things. Number one, there's been a bit of misinformation. Yes, this dam did provide water, cooling water, for Europe's biggest nuclear power plant, which is just upstream. Now, there's a lot of hype going on about potential for nuclear disaster. From what I understand, the reality is that plant has been placed on shutdown. The reactors have been put on standby mode, which means they require significantly less water to stay cool. I'm not saying there's not a risk, because there certainly always is with any nuclear power plant, but it appears to me, and I'd be curious to get your take on it, that the media is kind of overhyping this potential for nuclear meltdown, nuclear catastrophe. We do know that the dam did provide water to Crimea. There was a canal built between the reservoir and Crimea that provided the Crimean Peninsula with fresh water. And again, that is part of Russia. While the nuclear power plant will be running low on cooling water, what's even a bigger risk is the fact that it's been hit by mortar shells several times over the last year. And again, mysteriously, no one wants to take responsibility for that. The Ukrainians like to claim that the Russians are shelling their own nuclear power plant. The whole situation is just a little puzzling. There's a component of crazy when it comes to why this dam was blown up. But I also find something very horrifying about the situation that we'll get to in just a moment. But from the crazy perspective, does it make sense that Russia would blow up a dam in their own country? They built it in the 1950s. Why would they do that? It provides cooling water to the nuclear power plant just upstream. It provides fresh water to the Crimean Peninsula. It kind of feels like the same situation that unfolded when the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up. That's the pipeline that ran from Russia to Germany. It was a honey hole, a moneymaker for Russia. They had spent billions of dollars to build it. And when it was blown up, again, same scenario. No one wanted to take responsibility, but the Western media blamed it on Russia. It's a little crazy to think that they would do that, but we cannot rule anything out. Do you find it horrifying that possibly Ukraine did this as part of their spring offensive? That would make Vladimir Putin very, very angry. We've already covered the ramifications of this dam being destroyed. And if they're pushing even further, right, this was probably an easy operation, relatively easy, maybe done with missiles. I don't know. I don't know the specifics, but it wouldn't risk a lot of human life and could have a massive impact like it's having right now. I would be very, very concerned that if Ukraine did this, Vladimir Putin is not going to be happy. And how he pushes back or retaliates, we don't want to see that. It could just be absolutely horrible. How about a possible, sensible explanation for what went on? Could it be that the Ukrainians realize their back is against the wall, that they're being beat by the Russians, that soon they'll be required to go to the negotiating tables? They're desperate, and this was an easy way to lash out at the end, figuring, hey, we're never going to get that land back anyway. We'll show those Russians, we'll bomb this dam, and then possibly here in the coming months, we'll go to the negotiating table and talk with them about some type of settlement. I don't know. I do know that Tucker Carlson was on Twitter live last night. He's back, and he in no uncertain terms insinuated that he thought the Ukrainians were responsible for this attack. At the end of the day, it's a scary situation. We have geopolitical turmoil in the world right now like no other time in recent history. What do? We invest in silver. We invest in gold or possibly precious metal mining stocks. That's what I do. That way I feel safe. I feel secure. As the world splits, as the world is more in conflict, silver and gold have seen this show many, many times over the 1,000 years and have maintained their value, have helped people protect their wealth during times of uncertainty. Hey, I appreciate you joining me here in the basement. Go watch a live stream, and I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement, live on the log flume with Lily. Lily, say hi. Hi.